No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Minuk. With Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to talk about sorry, I was just reading that comment and I got distracted. I started laughing. That was a good one, Doug.
It's strong in the chat right now, boys.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are upset. There's no question about it. But this is a great day. This is a great day if you ever want an example of what a bad day for an NHL organization. Today is a great day for that example. You now have an example of what a bad day looks like for an NHL organization. It started during the trade deadline. It continued during the game. And here's where we're at right now at 10:48 p.m. You wonder if it's rock bottom. I mean, it's hard.
I don't know what you're talking about, Drew. I thought James Van Riemsdyk had a great game for the Jets tonight.
Yeah, and the Mesnikov wasn't even noticeable. But look, this is just bad. This is just ugly. We're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about it again tomorrow morning, some more on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. This was just awful. I mean, you wondered how the Jets were going to come out tonight, after what has to be disappointing for the players in the dressing room. The trade deadline and the lack of moves and the minor tinkering that we saw. So you have to wonder, how are they going to come out? And they're not playing against a bunch of scrubs. They're playing against the Edmonton Oilers, an Oilers team that is better than their record, I would suggest, and a team that went out and did a big move and made a big move and spent some future capital to acquire Matthias Ekholm because Ken Holland said that's what we need on our team. This is the kind of addition we need to put us in the upper echelon of the Western Conference. Meanwhile,
shutdown defenseman is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Ekholm is. Yeah,
that's right. And is it a possibility you might not love that contract 3 years from now? Yeah, maybe.
It's possible. Honestly, that was the one player on defense that you wanted the Jets to get, right? Because there wasn't a lot of either left shot or right shot defensemen there, Dave, right? Like Colton Parayko would have been the big one, but he makes too much money and too many years, right? Like
7 more years
style, right? So, I mean, there just wasn't. Joel Edmondson was a guy that I would, I'm getting a little bit off track because we got to get back to the Jets Oilers game tonight. But Joel Edmondson to me would be an upgrade on the third pair. So he was a guy that I'd be curious to know, Dave, if Chevy, had serious talks to bring in Joel Edmondson. But it just wasn't a great year for defensemen. It didn't seem like there were a lot of defensemen available.
Yeah, there weren't. But, I mean, at least when there was one, the Oilers GM went out and got that defenseman. I mean, he went out and made the big splash. He went out and gave his team a significant boost and a significant vote of confidence. And he went out and spent some assets and he said, no, I think we have an opportunity right now. I think we have something going here that can translate into a run to the playoffs, whether it's a Western Conference final, whether it's the Stanley Cup final, whatever it's going to translate into. I believe in this group. Jets didn't do that. And so you were wondering, how are the Jets going to respond? Were they going to respond and say, oh, I'm pissed off, I'm going to play angry, I'm mad, I want to show him, I want to shove his mistake up his rear end and this organization's mistake up their rear end and show them this is what we really have here, that we deserved more? Or were they going to roll over and die? Well, I mean, it was pretty evident pretty quickly which option they were going to choose. And don't tell me, I mean, 6-3, which is a lopsided score in the NHL, flatters this team. I mean, that's if you saw the box score and you said that they lost 6-3, you'd be like, oh, holy shit, they got kicked. And then you find out what the score really was and how one-sided this really was. Then you'd be like, oh, they really got their asses handed to them. And that's what happened. And if you all of a sudden think that, tomorrow's going to be any different, that these two teams meeting again in, what is it now? 20 hours, a little less than that, is all of a sudden going to, produce a different result. Well, you are wearing rose-colored glasses, and I admire you for doing that. I mean,
Well,
this is just
the only difference that we know for sure is going to be what province the game is played in, right, Drew? But
and the time it starts. Yeah, that's it.
like let's set aside the trade deadline, because I think we're going to touch more on it in the second half of the show. But just looking at this last stretch here, and you're coming off of a really disappointing homestand, and you were having trouble scoring goals, but you obviously exploded against LA. But three of the last four games, you've given up a combined 15 goals, right? Like, talking about the 5-1 loss to the Avalanche, the 4-0 loss to the Islanders, and then tonight's 6-3 game, which, as you touched on, Drew, it was 6-1 before the Jets scored a couple goals in the third period, right? Yeah. So, I mean, this last stretch has been even worse than the previous stretch, in which you lost 3 or 4 games on that Eastern road trip, and you could have easily lost 4 or 4 games if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck's wizardry, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 games have gone almost as bad as you could possibly imagine, right? And, again, like, you definitely miss Pierre-Luc Dubois. I thought you definitely missed him more in tonight's game than you did against the LA Kings. And, we know Dubois is not out long term. And, like, Nino Niederreiter, I like him. He's a good player. Vladislav Namestnikov, good player. What's going on with the Jets is, I think, beyond grabbing a couple forwards and even a defenseman. Like, you look at the penalties that were taken, and just like the body language on some of the players, like some of the best players on the team, the leaders of this team, like Scheifele, right? Like, that was a missed call. I forget if that was the first period or the second period. The Jets were already on a power play, and you guys remember what I'm talking about. And Scheifele gets upset the fact that there wasn't a call made. He was high. You look at his body language. Dave tweeted about this, like, he's saying, wake up, right? But it's like, if you're focused and you're dialed in, you just continue on and you score a goal, you tie the game up, you make it a 1-goal game, whatever. Like, I just thought that the Jets were, like, they looked like they were, they had given up. Like, they were looking to the refs. They were looking to other people. Like, this team looks so fragile and so frustrated and not connected. And, the results speak for themselves, right? Like, they're not losing close games here.
No, it's not like they're playing well and they're just falling on, and they're getting a disappointing result, Dave. They're just not playing. I mean, it's not like there's a positivity that you're taking from these games. And don't talk to me about, getting some, bottom 6 scoring. I mean, you were down 5-0 or whatever the score was when you got the bottom 6 scoring. So everything that happened, after the Oilers, had a 5-0 lead, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So don't talk to me about any of that stuff as, things we can build upon. La la la. I mean, it's just nonsense. You just don't go down 5-0 and then expect to sell me a bill of goods about how close you are to getting back into it.
Look, the third period wave was merited. I thought the Jets deserved to be the recipients of the derision that a third period wave, brings you. And look, this was a game the Jets. Is it a must win? No, it's not a must win, but it's pretty close to a must. Pretty close to a must win at this point. I mean, look, I mean, you're falling out of the. I mean, look, first place in the Central. Dallas is winning. Minnesota is winning and made some good moves today. You've got other teams that are continuing to win. Teams in the Pacific are winning. So Calgary is falling out of it. Winnipeg is falling out of it. And by the way, Nashville is actually winning games, even though they're trading away all their players. So, it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to be able to limp your way in. And this was a game that you needed to, I don't care. I mean, honestly, what happens today in the trade deadline? Yeah, you could say, okay, fine, that impacted. But at the end of the day, like, you're a professional and you needed to show that you were going to, have, again, all that people want to see is that you play with heart and you play with passion and you play with intensity. And that wasn't evident. And they didn't start on time. And they took a lot of penalties. I mean, 8 penalties. Look, I get that you have the second best penalty killing unit in the NHL, but the Oilers are the best power play unit in the NHL. And even if they don't score, which obviously they only scored on the one in the first period, I'm saying, what you do is you kill your momentum. Yeah. And you have no chance of, like, so you were lucky to only be down 1-0 after 20 minutes. And I'm not trying to spoil the recap, but I think everyone knows what happened. But I mean, you're lucky to be down just 1-0. And so you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, okay, what's the Jets bounce back going to be? Because you're only down 1-0 after 20 minutes. So how can they react? And again, the reaction wasn't good enough. Like you said, Drew, you can't be down 5-0 and be like, well, we started to peel our way into this. Mm-hmm. No. Like
the game was over after Yamamoto's 2 goals.
I agree, but
in 38 seconds.
Yeah, as I tweeted out, I said,
was all she wrote.
And I said, here come the pretzels, because it was done. And I think I might have dropped the dear mama at 3-0 goal. So, I mean, it was over, as they said in Rocky. It's over, Rock. So, I mean, look, the reality is this one was a foregone conclusion at that point. The only hollow victory, Drew, which is what you were talking about earlier, that Jets fans can get excited about, is that, the 100-year-old record that Connor McDavid could have tied if he scored 2 goals for the 6th straight game, he did not accomplish.
Right.
So that was the only.
So the parade starts at Portage and Memorial, and it goes west towards Main Street east towards Main Street.
It does not. Anyway, it's rough. And again, like I said, the Jets fans aren't overly excited based on the moves or the lack thereof, I should say, that weren't made by this organization. But at the end of the day, the hockey team is the hockey team, and as Rick Bowness says, you play the guys who are on the ice for you. And the guys who are on the ice right now aren't getting it done. And, like I said, it starts with Kyle Connor. I jokingly called him a goon, but like, it's a lazy stick penalty. Yeah. And it's early in the game, and it sucks a lot of your momentum. So, I mean, it starts with your best players this is a time. Look, we can talk about your role players and Kevin Stenlin and all of those guys, like, David Gustafson playing his first game since January 10th. But at the end of the day, your big dogs need to be your big dogs, and they have to be your horses. They have to be the ones who take you to wherever you need to go. And the Jets ones didn't do that until it was much too late in this game.
Let's get into the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by our friends at Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Oilers open the scoring at the 2:06 mark on the power play. You can't give this team power plays. They did. The Jets gave them one. It came early in the game, as Dave mentioned, with Kyle Connor in the box for tripping. Leon Draisaitl gets his 37th of the season, assist to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor McDavid. And it's an early 1-0 lead for the Oilers, as Dave touched on it. But the Jets take 8 minutes of penalties in a 20-minute first period. I mean, your game plan is, okay, guys, we got to stay out of the box. And what do? We spend half our time in the box in the first period. So Dave's 100% right. There's no way of getting into the flow of the game. You're playing catch up from the get-go. You're on your heels from the get-go as a result of all those penalties. The Jets made their own bed, and the Oilers took advantage of it, starting with this Draisaitl goal.
Yeah, and we'll get into the goal that we saw later in the game, which I don't think you see that very often, where a player puts the goal, the net back on its moorings and then roofs it, right? Yeah. And then David Riddick.
That was very, very smart of him. Like, honestly, you got to give him credit.
Well, absolutely. You know what Riddick should have done, and I don't blame
knocked
Riddick,
it off.
Is once it was off, then you just really get it off. Like, who was the goalie? Like, remember the guy who was playing overseas in the K or was playing maybe in the ECHL, who on a breakaway, like literally he was the goalie. Somebody was coming in on him on a breakaway. He just turned around and shoved the net off the moor.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was a few.
I remember that, but I can't picture the goalie right now. But just getting back into the first goal there. I mean, like, we got to start. Morgan Barron fails to clear the puck, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of goes downhill from there. And the Jets are scrambling a little bit. As you mentioned, Connor McDavid is doing his usual dancing around the ice. Leon Draisaitl is parked to the left of Connor Hellebuyck there. And then it's a little bit of a scramble, loose puck situation. And Leon Draisaitl is just waiting there, and bad angle shot. Don't really know how it got past Hellebuyck, because it looked like he had a good angle on the shot, but it starts with a failed clearing attempt, and you just have so many dangerous weapons on that Oilers power play. I don't think a lot of people knew, certainly people in Edmonton, but I don't think a lot of people knew that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is close to 80 points right now. Like, he has a really good shot at 90 points this year, maybe even more.
Career high in goals now.
Yeah, career high in goals. So he was really good tonight. But yeah, that goal wasn't a pretty one.
It was, yeah. And so the Jets are down 1-0, 2 minutes in. And I mean, then, Kevin Stenlund takes a double minor for high sticking. I'm amazed the Jets were able to kill that off. I mean, I at that point in time, you're already, not where you don't want to be early in this game. And I'll give the Jets penalty kill credit in that they killed off that penalty and they killed off the Dylan DeMello tripping penalty, in the first period to just keep themselves in it for at least 20 minutes. They kept their head, they had a puncher's chance, after 20 minutes of being down only 1-0 at that point in time. But then Nugent Hopkins, again, an early goal. This one, so the first goal came 2:06 into the period. This goal, the 2-0 goal, comes a minute 44 into the second period. It's Ryan Nugent Hopkins. It's his 29th of the season. There's no assists on this one. It's just a proverbial Claude Noel free pizza. And I don't know if
there's an assist. Dylan DeMello got an assist.
That's true. Dylan DeMello got it was a tape-to-tape pass. And he put it right on Nugent Hopkins' stick. And
I'm just glad that DeMello's okay, because that was scary when McDavid's skate caught him there.
That's right. He got the McDavid.
Very scary. Everybody remembers like Clint Malarchuk and all those dangerous ones where, guys, Evander Kane recently, right? So it's just good that DeMello was okay, because I guess the good sign was that he skated off on his own. Mm-hmm. So you knew that it wasn't serious, but still you could tell that. I mean, anytime you get a skate near the face, you always cringe, right?
Well, especially considering Ezzy on that play, everybody thought that the Jets were going to the power play.
Yeah,
and then everybody's like, okay, because again, you didn't see it, you just saw DeMello cut.
You thought it was a high stick on DeMello, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
and then Ehlers gets the penalty. Yeah.
No, it was actually DeMello's penalty. Ehlers just served it,
but because he was going to get stitched up, Ehlers had to serve it. But anyways, it was, look, it's an unfortunate situation. And it's exactly what we talked about. It's a mental mistake that the Jets made. And Dylan DeMello is a consistent player. We've talked about him throughout the course of this year about how consistent he has been. But that's just it's an unforced error on a team that just can't afford to make any mistakes. Because Ryan Nugent Hopkins is having just a phenomenal season. I mean, he's just been just incredible for an Edmonton team that he's been incredible for years. Mm-hmm. And he's just having he's one of the reasons why they're able to challenge for the Pacific. And I know that the win for them was important, right? Like we talk about the Jets and how important it is for them. The Oilers came into this game first wild card spot, but they were only, I think, 2 points back of Seattle, and
they were tied with the Jets.
No, but I'm saying they were in terms of the Pacific though. They were only 2 points back of Seattle and 2 points back of, I think they were 4 back of Vegas. So anyways, the point is,
on the Jets.
I think what Dave you're saying too is that they're going in opposite directions.
Well, they are, but the point is that it's just, again, the Jets. But remarkably, Ezzy, the Jets were in this game, and it's 1-0 after 20 minutes. So if you can come out and start the second period the way you needed to,
mm-hmm.
then at least it's. I'm not saying it's forgivable to be sleepy or to not be crisp or to take those penalties, however you want to describe it. But at least you can overcome it by getting back into this hockey game. But when it was all of a sudden it was 2-0. I mean, as he talks about body language, you could see the body language. It was shoulders lowered, heads low, and it was just like, all right, well, I mean, 2-0 isn't insurmountable, but it felt pretty insurmountable.
That's kind of what I'm saying here, and we can continue on with the goal here. I mean, we can't really break it down anymore. It was a bad giveaway by Dylan DeMello, but I mean, that's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of kind of where the morale and the psyche of this team is right now. Like, it's more than just. And it's getting those kind of vibes, guys, of last year's team, where you're kind of scratching your head, like with Scheifele and Connor and Ehlers and Dubois and Morrissey and all these talented players. I probably shouldn't group Morrissey in with those other guys, but because he's having a Norris-like season. But you're thinking to yourself, like, how is this team performing this badly? And last year you could point to defense, right? Like you could easily point to defense. You could point to, Hellebuck wasn't a top 3 goalie in the league. Well, that's not the case this year, right? And the Jets have changed their team. And even though, guys like Axel Jonsson-Fjällby and Sam Gagner and those types of players were getting the jobs done on the 3rd and 4th line, lines, that's just not the case now. And, that's why a guy like Nemestikov will help in the bottom 6. But I mean, how much is he going to help? I think you needed 3 Vladislav Nemestikovs. That's why, I was all for a guy like, Max Domi, or, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that you could have gone out and acquired, but again, we're straying away. But yeah, this was just, it wasn't a good game for Dylan DeMello. It wasn't a good game for the Jets in terms of discipline. Like, they were taking penalties, boys, right up until the bitter end. Saku Maenalainen. And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if he was fined for that. I think it was on Broberg. That was
got him with a good
cross-checked him in the head.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
maybe he'd lose his roster spot because he doesn't really do much with it anyways. So maybe that'll be an opportunity. Maybe he'll get suspended for a game, and the Jets will see what else they have in terms of options, despite nothing going on at 5-on-5 Maenalainen.
Well, and I was going to say, I made a mental note on that goal because I believe it was Maenalainen. I could be wrong, but I think it was Maenalainen who DeMello was trying to get the puck to. And it wasn't hard enough. And it was a bad giveaway. And we talked about it. Nugent Hopkins is red hot right now. And, 2-0 was the beginning of the end for the Jets. And just too costly of a turnover there.
Oilers make it 3-0, 9:18 mark of the second period, Dave. It's Kyler Yamamoto with the goal assist to Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Jets look like they're going to have an opportunity. Looks like the Jets might be able to cut the lead in half. They got a 2-on-1. And the Oilers make a great defensive play. The Jets are caught on a bad line change. And before you can say, whatever curse words you want to use, it's in the back of the net. And it's 3-0 for Edmonton at this point, Dave.
Yeah, and I think it just sums up how things are going for Winnipeg right now, right? Because you have an opportunity to cut the lead in half. And seconds later, it's in the back of your net. And great heads-up play by Edmonton. And Kyler Yamamoto, I mean, he's a guy that some people were in Edmonton were talking they might have to trade away if they were going to get that defensive help. I think they're happy to have him in a position to be contributing to the scoring, and he scores a beauty. I mean, it's just a beautiful play. He receives that pass in full stride. He's in behind the Jets, and he gets in there and he scores. And then at that point, 3-0. I'm sorry, that game was over as far as I was concerned. I didn't think the Jets were coming. I didn't think they're coming back 2-0. And Ezzy and I often talk about it, whether we're sitting in the press box together watching a game or at my place watching a game. We generally have a pretty good sense. Okay, the Jets could come back from this type of deficit. We've watched enough of these Jets games to kind of get a feel for this team. I can tell you right now, watching it at 2-0, I didn't think so, but 3-0, I was like, this one's over. The only thing we gotta save our time for is getting everybody keeping everybody awake, keeping everybody engaged, so they would join us on the Illegal Curve post-game show after the game. I didn't want everyone to go to bed angry at 3-0.
Absolutely. And just one more thing, Drew, on this goal, because I know we have a lot more goals, unfortunately, to get to, most of them from the Oilers. But I mean, a lot of people I know were frustrated, and they were talking about on the broadcast, like Ehlers deciding to pass there as opposed to shooting. Like, you've got Nino Niederreiter, obviously a new line mate, a new teammate, right? But I don't think, this is a nice play by Nugent Hopkins. Like, we talked about it. Like, I've always said, you guys, like, going back years, and we'll talk to Derek Van Diest tomorrow. We have him coming on the show about Nugent Hopkins. Like, that contract was criticized at the time. And I'm not saying that, there won't be some criticism of it, in the later years of that contract. But, like, Nugent Hopkins is a great player, and that's a great play. So I don't have any problem with Ehlers trying to get that. Niederreiter's a shooter. There was some room there, right, Dave? So I just think, let's just pump the brakes on, criticizing Ehlers for deciding to pass that and not shoot that. I thought there was nothing wrong with his decision there.
I agree with you, Ezzy. Look, Nikolai Ehlers knows what the best decision in that situation is. He's a professional NHLer. If he thinks that in that scenario, in that 2-on-1, the pass. Sorry, I had to sneeze. The pass is better than the shot.
You are so good looking.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's a good line. Thank you. Yeah, you are handsome yourself there, Furry. If I don't have a problem with it either. He's trying to do something that's going to lead to a goal. It didn't work, but that also doesn't mean it was going to immediately turn into a high danger opportunity the other way. There was no
exactly.
Him, giving the puck away in the neutral zone. There's no sign that this was going to go right back up the ice and end up behind Connor Hellebuyck. It did, but that just was a confluence of events that that are emblematic of how disjointed and how off this Jets team is right now. If they're more in sync, and if there's more synchronicity in how they're playing, then this is just a non-play. It's a 2-on-1 that doesn't materialize. It doesn't end up with a goal in the back of the net. It did, clearly. Yamamoto, I mean, if it wasn't over now, it's now over for sure. It took all, like I said, I think it was that 40 seconds. If I can squint and see what my computer screen says, 40 seconds later, Yamamoto, again, his 8th of the season, his 2nd of the game, assist to Klim Kostin and Brett Kulak. And the Jets were just a tire fire on this play. This is just Keystone Cops in your own zone. I mean, it's just, you got guys flailing around everywhere, trying to, slide to block pucks and, trying to do things to just get the puck off the stick of the Oilers. And they failed miserably and ended up in the back of the net. And that's, it was just ugly, especially on this goal as well, Dave.
Well, I mean, how many of those goals could we describe? Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of instances throughout the course of this game where there were opportunities, I think, on the broadcast, and they weren't wrong. At one point, the score very easily could have been, I mean, it was 5-0, but it, when it was 2-0, 3-0, it had the opportunity to be 5-0. I mean, thinking about Devin Shore's shot off the crossbar, and there was another play that, there was that one on the PK where Hellebuyck was caught out of the net, and you had 4 Jets kind of all diving across to try and prevent a chance. And I actually didn't know how the Oilers didn't score on that play, but I'm just saying that there were a lot of opportunities for Edmonton to have, a significant lead on the Jets. And yeah, this is another example of you're wondering what are, it's not as if I saw a question about the systems and the structure, and like, it's not like it's new. It's not like the Jets are like, hey, it's game 62. We're not really sure what we're supposed to be doing here, right? You're 62 games into an NHL season. You're the same group largely.
If you're 62 games into the season and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you're the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, even the Arizona Coyotes know that they're trying to acquire players they don't actually have to pay money to. They know what their plan is.
Hey, they were upset because they were hot. They were winning the games. They're like, what the hell are we doing? This is not what Connor Bedard, for the record, and just a quick aside, had a hat trick today in Regina's comeback win over the Winnipeg Ice. So
I think he's going to go first overall.
Yeah, there's a good chance he will go first overall, and there's a good chance that he'll be, defining, much like that 97, some franchise, who's lucky enough to get him. But the point is, going back to that goal, Drew, I mean, it's just another example of a Jets team that's just anemic and casual. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's all the things you can't afford to be. And again, it's one of the biggest questions is like, where is your leadership? Like, sorry, where's the guy who's making, we don't talk about money oftentimes because the cap really doesn't matter. It's immaterial other than obviously, within the parameters of actually, fielding a team. But where are the guys who make the big money on this team? Where are the guys who are supposed to be able to put the team on their back? Kind of like Josh Morrissey tried to in that LA Kings game. Where are the guys doing that? Like, you're not seeing it enough. I'm sorry. Mark Scheifele, when was the last time he took over a game? Nikolai Ehlers, when was the last time he took over a game? Kyle Connor, when was the last time he took over a game? I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois is not here. He tried to get physically engaged in that Kings game when, the Jets were down but I'm just saying that you're waiting for the guy, Blake Wheeler. Blake Wheeler literally turned a partial breakaway into a 1-on-2. Like he did. He could have just gone at the net. I know it was kind of at the end of the shift, but he literally turned a partial break into a 1-on-2 opportunity. Like, it's just, none of these guys are saying, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the guy who needs to put this team on my back. Kind of like I said, Josh Morrissey did it the last game. It was evident.
No, he did it against the Blues. That's the one where he really
I'm saying, of course, I'm saying, but Josh.
And you can't expect him to do it every night, as you know.
That's what I'm saying, Des. I'm saying it can't be Josh Morrissey every night. Drew, you're right. He did it in the St. Louis game. He did it in the LA game. But the point is, it can't be one guy every single night.
Especially a defenseman. You know what I mean? Like, and just quickly, we'll get on to the next goal. I don't know if anybody watching wants to get into the next goal, but Hellebuyck again, like, watching that live and just watching the replay, right? Like, I don't know what Hellebuck's not good at playing the puck. That's the one thing with Hellebuyck. He could end up winning the Vezina or being a Vezina finalist this year. He's not Marty Brodeur. He's not Tom Barrasso. He's never been good at playing the puck. And Stenlund is there kind of around the faceoff dot. And you think like Hellebuyck would try to get it. Like he's trying to clear the zone there, Dave, but Stenlund he gets a piece of it. And I just don't know what Hellebuyck is doing there. Like, it was just, again, DeMello, again, don't want to pick on DeMello here. He didn't have a very good night, but, he coughs up the puck that results into the goal, the second goal. And then this goal, again, like, it's directly all the chaos that ensues is as a result of Hellebuyck throwing that up the middle and the Oilers keeping it in the Jet zone, right? So I just don't know. The decision making there was bizarre for Hellebuyck, and then obviously he's completely, he moves to the right and he's completely out of the play, like, so he doesn't even have a chance. It was just one of the ugliest goals I think I've ever seen scored on the Jets, to be honest with you.
Oh, it was just, the ugly goal, ugly game. Oilers make it 5-0, 2:26 into the third period. It's Nugent Hopkins again. He's on the power play, assist to McDavid and Draisaitl. It's 5-0 at that point in time. I mean, I don't know how much of this you guys want to continue to delve into, and how much more of this you guys want to, hurt yourself or just keep flogging the dead horse here. I guess we'll flog the dead horse on the Draisaitl goal.
Drew, Peter doesn't like it when you say that kind of stuff.
Who does? Peter doesn't like it.
No, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I know. You're not supposed to flog a dead horse. I'm
well, if the horse Kentucky, is dead, why does it matter?
Yeah, I'm from Kentucky. I'm allowed to flog. I guess I'm not from Kentucky, but
doesn't your friend like to eat?
No, you're from Kentucky.
Thank you, but we get to flog dead horses there. It's part of the.
Your friend likes to eat horses, doesn't he?
Yes, my friend Jay Riemerschmeier, or whatever the hell his Kramer's friend's name was. The Draisaitl goal. I'm just going to bring it up because it is our Seagram's shot of the game. Seagram's VO, integrity, tradition, and craftsmanship. Get your best Seagram's products at your local liquor mart. This is an incredible shot. There was
my favorite ice cream is chocolate chip.
No. But
no, look at the comment we just had up.
It's his favorite ice cream.
I missed it. I didn't see the comment.
Well, Spency said he wanted to talk about ice cream.
Oh, okay.
He said your recap is making him sad, Drew. So he wanted to talk about ice cream.
I was looking at.
I feel like you're a Rocky Road type of guy, Drew.
No, I'm not.
Orange sherbet?
No, orange sherbet.
Orange tiger? Tiger?
You can keep going. It's
mint chocolate, vanilla.
I can see Drew being a cookies and cream guy.
There you go, Dave. Thank you, my friend.
Cookies and cream.
No, cookies and cream is solid.
Cookies and cream chocolate.
Yellow Submarine, Brazier Street in East K. Great cookies and cream, Drew.
Pralines and cream. I got like a good praline and cream. That's also even the chocolate chip cookie dough. I like the little raw bits of cookie dough.
I like black salt base as far as my creams.
Good old Baskin Robbins had something called gold medal ribbon. I think it was called. Get a little caramel in there.
Gold medal ribbon, not a fan of either.
Well, all right. And double chocolate, for the record. Little mix. Dave M used to do the mix.
What about a goog, Drew? Do you like a BDI goog?
BDI is overrated.
Oh, Dave M with coming with the hot takes.
That's what North Enders think. Sorry. True.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, Sergeant Sunday is unbelievable. So I would put Sergeant Sunday right up there, if not above BDI. But
they're different. You're talking You're talking apples and oranges. You're talking hard ice cream, and you're talking soft ice cream.
This is all for Spencer's entertainment, by the way. We're just indulging Spency here.
I forgot. But that's quite a segue.
I mean, the problem with BDI is if from like May till September, there's always 50 people in line. So that's the thing. If you can go to BDI and not have to wait 45 minutes to get ice cream.
When it's
That's
raining,
what it's all about.
When it's raining, it's not that busy. You just got to be strategic about it.
I will say,
Drew likes to get his ice cream in the rain.
Yeah, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
There's something so unseemly about flying a kite at night, as Marge once said.
I will say though, BDI, good walking spot, bad ice cream.
Remember when the bridge actually used to open? We're old enough to remember when they actually used to open up that bridge.
No.
That
bridge never opened. That bridge used to be. No, it didn't.
I think you tried jumping off the bridge once.
That bridge used to open because
What do you mean open? Like which way?
What do you mean? Like it was
it's a cement bridge, as it's like
it used to open. Somebody will back me up here that bridge used to open.
Like open for boats to travel under it?
Yeah.
No, are you thinking about the bridge off that you can see off of Chief Peguis?
Maybe
that bridge opens up.
I think I have some bridge confusion here.
I think you do too. Chief Peguis is in the north end, Ezzy. BDI is in the south end.
My grandma used to like to play bridge.
Brent Bellamy, the resident expert.
It was a two-way car bridge.
Yes, I was hoping Brent was here. We need an architect. I mean, we're a bunch of idiots here. We need an
architect. Hold on. It absolutely used to open.
See, there you go. I don't know what that says. Is that a symbol? Zinoido?
I don't know.
I don't think that bridge.
This is way better than breaking down tonight's Jets game, by the way.
Tracy wants a Moose Minute.
I don't think that bridge.
I think we need to have a bridge minute. We need to have Brent. Send Brent the link.
It definitely.
Well, all I know is that look. Okay, hold on. Uno minute, Drew.
Okay.
Let's get back on track because we do have another show tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
And we do. I just want to congratulate Spencer for hijacking the show for three or 4 minutes. Let's get back on track, boys. Let's keep it tight.
But he hijacked it in a good way.
Hold on. I will give Doug.
Goes to Doug.
I will give it to Doug.
Yeah. That bridge never opened. The bridge you're thinking about, Ezzy, that opened is the one that you can see when you're driving over the Chief Peguis Bridge.
I like that bridge. I like bridges that open like that.
Yes, that's very reasonable of you. But I just want you to, geography. I know it's not your strong suit, but just so you know,
ice cream though is my strong suit.
I'm aware of that. That's why we're talking about the ice cream instead of the bridge.
By the way, Drew, I'm fairly certain that's first of all, it was a train. That's a train bridge right near my home golf course of KP.
Yes,
but I can tell you right now that bridge. I don't think it's ever not been open. It's always been like that.
Well, I'm saying
I think permanently.
Kildonan Park is the best public course in the
city. Think when the paddle wheel used to run, or the River Rouge or something,
maybe
it used to open or close.
Maybe 1,000 years ago. Maybe Drew, when you were a young man 70 years ago, but not a long time.
It was a few years after the general strike, Drew.
I'll tell you what. This is not my fault for derailing this. This was not my fault. This is your guys' fault for derailing this. That I'm not going to take.
We got a goalie. We got a goalie to talk about.
I know.
Unintended, by the way, with derailed.
In any event, the Draisaitl shot was incredible. Is what I was saying. Like, because there was not a window there. You could see it on the replay that Rittich actually makes himself bigger to take away the window that may have briefly been there, and Draisaitl still manages to pick that. I mean, I don't.
And he made it look easy. Like, he made it look like he was just like, it was like a skills competition. Like, it was unbelievable. We talked about it right before that. The net partially comes off. Or comes off, and then Draisaitl goes. That's not something you see at any level of hockey, by the way.
No.
And then he just somehow finds enough space to absolutely roof that puck. And you're right, Drew. It's like you're watching that, and you're like, David Rittich challenges, and he's a big boy. Like, David Rittich is not a small goalie, neither is Hellebuck. But Draisaitl he's such a sniper. It's unbelievable watching these guys. And going back to what we were talking about before, Mattias Ekholm, and then obviously Nick Bjugstad was pickup who's going to have less of an impact, but specifically Ekholm for Barrie, I think shows those two guys and Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto and all the rest of the guys on the team that they're serious this year. This Oilers team, like, how many times can the Oilers get knocked out in the first round or the second round? Like, they have to go for it. There's only so many years you have McDavid and Draisaitl in their prime.
What I love about it, as well as is that's a hockey trade. It's not just a draft pick trade. It's a general manager, and Ken Holland deserves some criticism over his tenure in Edmonton. He hasn't been great, but in this case, he was willing to make a hockey trade.
Exactly.
And I mean, the Winnipeg Jets, when was the last time they made a hockey trade? The last hockey trade that
Dubois for Laine, I guess.
Yeah, Dubois for Laine, which they sort of had their hand forced
and
a little bit there.
I guess we should also.
And their hand was being forced a little bit. And the one before that would have been what? Kane, the Kane trade to Buffalo, where again their hand was being forced a bit. You can, a general manager's job. And again, this is probably delving too close to what we're going to talk about tomorrow in more depth. But I'm saying a general manager's job is to evaluate your roster, not just your draft picks, but your roster, and looking at it and saying, hey, can I upgrade on this player? And may that involve me trading away a player off my active roster? The Jets just don't do those things.
And this is the year, too, that, again, and we'll get back to the game here, and we'll talk about this more in tomorrow morning show. But
yeah,
the thing is, boys, like, this is the year where you trade the first round pick, similar to 2017 to 19, right? When you brought in Paul Stastny, and then next year you brought in Kevin Hayes. This is the type of year you do it. And we've gone over the reasons. We don't have to go over the reasons, but I mean, it's clearly not a very stacked Western Conference. The Eastern Conference is much better.
Right.
And then in addition to that, you have players like Mark Scheifele, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Connor Hellebuck, Blake Wheeler. Their contracts are expiring. We talked about that with Murat a couple of weeks ago. So I think by all accounts, this was disappointing. Not to say that Nino Niederreiter and Vladislav Nemestikov aren't going to be productive players for the Jets. So you can't say that Chevy didn't do anything, but I think the consensus is he just didn't do enough.
Yeah, he didn't do enough. That's exactly what it is. No one's saying that, like I said, the acquisitions make sense. I don't have a problem with the acquisitions. It's just not enough. It doesn't elevate you to a different level. And if you're trying to tell me that it does, like he was in the press conference this afternoon, well, I mean, look, I know the guy's a good bullshitter, but I mean, I can smell bullshit. I have the skill set necessary to smell bullshit.
What about the whole again? We're getting off topic here, but we're talking about it, so we might as well continue, right, boys? Like the whole thing about not using cap space. I forget. Dave would probably know who asked him. It doesn't matter who asked him, but his answer was saying that you needed money for Perfetti's bonuses and for a call up, and then someone dove deep into it. Perfetti would only get a couple $100,000 of bonuses max, and so you would still have $2.5 million to play with.
Well, because it was bullshit.
So his reasoning for not using that caps, like to me, I would rather hear Chevy just say, you know what, we decided we were just not going to use that cap space, but don't use reasoning that is flawed.
Yeah, that you needed to hang on to it,
right? Because like Perfetti, like someone like again, I don't go on Cap Friendly and look at bonuses and stuff like that. So I forget somebody like thank you to that person who went into it, but like those bonuses don't equal $2.5 to $3 million.
Especially because
the Jets did have money to work with.
Especially because he's out for the rest of the season. He's out for the rest of the regular season.
I don't even know what the bonuses were. I think it was plus minus or something. I wouldn't think a guy like Perfetti. I guess agents put that type of stuff in there. But there was a lot of it was nonsense. It was just absolute nonsense. Like I imagine Chevy, I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine Chevy was trying to acquire a defenseman. I think even Darren Drager reported that at a certain point in the trade before the trade deadline, a couple hours right before, Dave.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why not just say that? Why not just say like, yep, we were trying to acquire a defenseman. And again, I'll let someone else jump in here, but same thing with Logan Stanley. Like, why not just deny that? Why not say I can't?
He did deny it, but he also said I can neither confirm nor deny it.
That's what I'm saying. So by saying that, you're basically saying like I'm not going to tell you.
No,
I mean, I don't think Andy Strickland would put that out there. We've had Strickland on the show a bunch of times over the years. I'm going to go under the assumption, or just based on what he said, that Stanley did request a trade. So why not just deny it?
Well, no, why not say, yeah, he did. But guess what? It's not my duty to immediately respond to that. I had other things I wanted to do.
Right.
There wasn't a deal to be made. So yeah, he may have requested a trade.
But by saying I can't confirm or deny it, then you're admitting that he did request a trade.
Again, you're just displaying condescension towards your paying fan base. And that's what True North does best, is they condescend to their paying fans and say, it's okay, little child. We'll tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. Now, please give me an additional 3% per season ticket year for the increase in costs. I mean, that's why the fans are upset. The fans are treated like children. They're treated like children by the entire organization. Top to bottom.
The fans are also upset because they wanted to see the team go one way or the other, but to stand pat essentially and not make a move one way or the other, especially when you've run it back with the same core with the intention of going for it,
right? Then
it doesn't make, especially, and the idea again, like some of the cover that Dreger was trying to provide for the organization yesterday about how
they always do.
No, I understand, but I'm saying so that that he said something to the effect of, well, they don't want to trade away too many of their draft picks or assets or whatever. And I went through and I was like, okay, they're missing 3 picks from this draft, but then after that, they're fine.
It's also
trade a player then.
No, but I'm saying like, even if you don't want to lose a roster player, so then trade also X, Y, or Z.
How many first round picks have you made in the last 2 years? 3. It's not like it's not like your cupboard is bare of prospects.
No, of course. No,
again, the reasoning makes no sense because you contrast that with what Julien Brisebois has done with,
well, I mean, that's
bringing in Blake Coleman, bringing in Brandon Hagel, bringing in Tanner Jeannot. What has that given Tampa Bay Lightning? 2 Stanley Cups and 3 Stanley Cup final appearances, right, Dave?
And the appearance
stuff. So the fact that the whole I don't want to trade draft picks. If it makes your team better and it's going to mean you're going to go on a long Stanley Cup, like what are we talking about here?
Like I get it.
This is a bunch of nonsense.
I get it because if you look at the Manitoba Moose, it's constructed with a lot of draft picks, right? And so everybody's aware of what Winnipeg is and how the organization has chosen to construct itself, and draft picks are the lifeblood of this team, right? I mean, it's no if you look at Cap Friendly and you see drafted. So that is the way this team is constructed. So it is an important element. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But what I'm saying is that if you could have gotten, one more, third line winger to add some depth to this team for a third rounder, and if you could have gotten one more depth defenseman, to pair on your third pairing, so you have a little bit.
Dave, I think they needed a top 4.
Well, I don't disagree, Ezzy, but I'm just suggesting that if you didn't want to go quote big game hunting, if you didn't want, because realistically, if you're not going to go after Chychrun, if you're not going to go after some of those players, if you're going to just trying to augment, and add some guys who can maybe, look, didn't sound like they were seriously going after Sanheim in Philly or Provorov or anything like that. So,
I don't know why people, aside from Sanheim being from Elkhorn, I don't know why it
just sounds like Philly was open for business. I think that people were just saying that Philly's open for business.
Sanheim would be the one guy I wouldn't trade on the back end. They've allowed 11 goals in the last 2 games. I'm sorry. I stand by. Drew asked us this question 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I said they needed a top 9 forward, probably 2 top 9 forwards, and a defenseman. The Jets needed a Matthias Ekholm. They need a shutdown. The Jets are not good enough defensively. I don't want to hear about that they've been top 5 in the league in goals against for the majority of the year. Well, not for the last 15 or 20 games.
I was gonna say maybe in the first 30 games, but not in the last.
Exactly.
30.
So don't give me that. They've been top 5 goals against. They just aren't good enough defensively.
And not only that,
we've gone over the goals. They're just right now. Not only are they struggling to score, maybe not so much the last couple of games. But they're just getting dominated. It's just unacceptable. We talked about it. 20 goals in the last 4 games.
Look,
20.
It's all been bad as of late. And the question is, from the Jets' perspective now, tomorrow, is it going to be any different? The fan base is not happy. Okay.
Well, hopefully they're happy with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, and they're smashing that like button.
Yeah. I'm finishing here. I'm finishing my thought here, Dave. They got.
Oh, you interrupted me earlier, so I'm allowed.
Yeah. Tomorrow, the fan base wants to see results. They're at home. Saturday night, rival Edmonton Oilers, Hockey Night in Canada, blah, blah, blah. The fan base is going to demand to see results. And the fan base is not pleased because, the season, which had so much promise and had so much optimism, is drifting away. And then today, the last day you can make moves to change your fortunes or improve your roster, the team didn't really do anything of any significance. And so the fan base is not happy, and it'll be very interesting tomorrow to see what the result is. And then, of course, they're at home, for the next 3 games, tomorrow, Monday, and Wednesday? Well, the Jets have 3 games. They got Edmonton, they got San Jose, and you got Minnesota. Well, you better start making a statement. You got to start turning this ship around to talk about, continuing the boat talk that we were talking about earlier, to see if this team is going to be a playoff team. Because you've been told, the fans have been told that as they're currently constructed, they're good enough. They're good enough. They have a Stanley Cup pedigree. Don't take it from me. Take it from the general manager. That's what he was saying. That's what he was trying to sell you tonight. So let's see a Stanley Cup pedigree. It's incumbent on the players and the team and the organization to make it happen tomorrow. We shall see. This has been the Betway game recap. The Jets losing tonight to the Edmonton Oilers by a 6-3 margin. Next in action, of course, tomorrow night, the Jets and the Oilers, the rematch in downtown Winnipeg. The Betway game recap has been brought to you by Betway. It's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, we'll do some contests. We'll do some giveaways. Talk a little bit about what's in store in 9 hours and 24 minutes on Saturday morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Much more to come. Smash the like button, folks. That's what you got to do. That's what we ask of you. Smash the like button. I wasn't
sure what Dave was doing there. I thought he was maybe playing the piano.
I think he was patting people on the head is what he was doing there. There you go. Like I was doing before. So Dave was smashing the like button. Hit the subscribe button. You folks know what you need to do. You're watching the Illegal Curve post-game show on this Friday evening.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 20 minutes before the top of the new day, it's the Illegal Curve post-game show on this Friday evening.
Just top of the morning to you, except it's nighttime.
It is 11:40 p.m. is what I was saying there. We have to take a lot more pride in our ability to defend, which we were doing for most of the season, said Rick Bowness of the Winnipeg Jets, who have given up 21 goals in their last 4 games. It's not nearly where it needs to be. The team players, I haven't coached a team, I think, that was so undisciplined and took so many penalties, said Bowness. So if you play a third of the game shorthanded, they're going to make you look bad. And they made us look bad. So there you have it from the Jets head coach. Unhappy with the team's poor defending, unhappy with the team's lack of discipline. Look, and I know I shouldn't find these things funny, but I'm reading this off the Jets website, so thank you to them for writing the article and providing those quotes. I have to make a point. The headline, though, I love team websites. This isn't just Jets related. This is all sports related, because these people, the team websites are the Iraqi Ministry of Information when it comes to putting a positive spin on horrible situations. The headline is Jets late push comes up short against Oilers.
That is actually funny.
Man, that headline should be headlining at Rumors Comedy Club right now.
I was going to say Dave Hempstead at Rumors Comedy Club. Both shows tonight were sold out. The late show tomorrow, I believe, is sold out. There's still a few tickets left for the 7:15 show tomorrow. Anyways, I thought that was very funny. And I'm not picking on the Jets website, folks. We're friendly with them. They do a great job. But of course, their glass has to be half full. Ours can be more realistic as to what's going on.
And Drew, team. I don't know about you, I don't know about Dave, but I thought after Brendan Dillon made it 6-3, that the Jets were just a few goals away from getting back into this game.
Just a few. They were just a few more goals away from getting back.
Well, he's not wrong. Just 3 goals.
Just 3 goals. Just 3 goals at that point in time. Anyways, it was. I found that to be a little bit amusing. So we can take some. We can still laugh. It's just sports, folks. I mean, you can still laugh every now and then. You can find it might be gallows humor. It might be dark humor, but you can still find the humor in certain things every now and then. And that certainly would be one of those things that you can find some humor in.
No, yeah, of course you have to have fun here, but you kind of said it, in a roundabout way earlier, Drew. The Jets have 20 games left here. Yeah. What are they going to do? Are they going to squeak into the playoffs, or are they going to compete for first in the division? Because first in the division is still up for grabs. Like, it looks a little bit daunting now for the Jets. Yeah. But, Dave mentioned it earlier. Calgary's got, I think, Minnesota, Dallas, then Minnesota. Like, I haven't looked past the next 3 games. But it's really Calgary's the only team you have to worry about. As we talked about last Saturday's show, you got 9 teams competing for 8 playoff spots, unless Nashville keeps winning.
Nashville's got 3 games in hand, and they're 6 points behind the Jets. So, I mean, I wouldn't think that they should make a huge run, but you never know. I mean, right now, the Jets certainly the problem is, from the Jets' perspective, is I see no evidence that they're going to be able to pull themselves out of this tailspin. That's the problem, is there's no signs of life.
Because there is no evidence to suggest that, Drew.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The reason you don't see the evidence is because the evidence is not present to be seen. And there's nothing that shows any indication from this team. And you know what?
They've lost 7 of their last 8 games.
You know what you need to start? You know what, Rick Bowness? Rick Bowness, again, don't just talk a good game. I like Rick Bowness. Seems like a nice guy. But you're not just there, you don't just get to talk a good game. What was his big threat? What's his big
accountability,
sitting people or cutting their ice time. Yeah. Well, do it.
Why was Logan Stanley in the lineup tonight?
First of all, that's inexplicable.
Dylan Sandberg's better than Logan Stanley. This is not a personal thing against Logan Stanley.
But it doesn't make
Sandberg
any sense.
is better than Stanley, so he should be in the lineup.
Honestly, if the Jets got one offer for Logan Stanley today, they should have taken it.
I don't think you're getting anything more than a B prospect or like a late draft pick, like a 5th rounder.
Well, I mean, the way people are making it out to be that he's got this big market or there's some huge untapped potential.
There's no market.
Again, I don't want to get into it tonight. It's late.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm ornery.
No,
it's a tomorrow conversation, but I don't understand why.
There's not a big
understand why he
for the record, it was the point I was attempting to make before you hijacked my comment. But
sorry, go ahead.
The point I was trying to make is cut guys' ice times. And you know what? If I saw the comments, and I'm not going to turn this into a Manuk Moose minute because the Moose and the ice also didn't have
Manuk Wolf minute.
Yeah, the Wolves. The Wolves
you should say what happened at the Moose game tonight.
I'll talk about that. Yeah, no, I'll talk about that before we end the show. But anyways, I was just going to say quickly, you know what? You want guys who are hungry. You want to see guys again, people are like, oh, they don't move the needle, blah blah blah. Well, again, actually, Anton Vielby, the guy who was sent down, who was pissed off about being sent down, he scored the first goal of this game. I mean, you're going to get guys who want to be in the NHL and who are working their asses off in the AHL. And so maybe you need guys who are willing to work their ass off and they've been stuck in the AHL. Guy like Jansen Harkins. I'm sorry, just remember, last time Adam Lowry scored a goal 35 games ago, actually. The last time Adam Lowry scored a goal, who was it who set him up? Jansen Harkins. And Jansen Harkins, again, like I said, I'm on the Jansen Harkins train. Some people aren't. I don't really care. It's my position. But the point is, I think he can facilitate. I think he could be a third liner in the NHL. And some coaches don't necessarily, you just don't gel with a coach. And maybe he's just not Rick Bowness's type of guy. But the fact of the matter is that Lowry's success was when he had Jansen Harkins, the last time he had success, I should say. And I'm just saying, you've got guys who are generally, I mean, the Moose, they lost tonight, but they had 9 games in a row. They had points, 7-0, 1-1 before tonight's loss against Chicago, who are also streaking right now. And we should, Drew mentioned their goaltender, Peter, well, it's probably not Peter, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Kochetkov, who's a Hurricanes.
Piotr.
Yeah, exactly. Piotr. He's a Canes prospect. I don't remember where he was drafted as but the fact is he's a Hurricanes. He's the guy who just signed.
I'll Google it.
This little thing called Google. He's the one who recently, I believe, was with
second round, 36th overall.
Which draft though?
2019.
2019.
Drew, those sausage fingers were moving quicker than my sausage fingers.
So the point is that
I've been doing my finger exercises all night.
Anyways, you had a guy. Isn't he the guy though, boys, who signed? He fired his agent and then signed with Milstein in Vancouver, and then signed the big deal with the Hurricanes. I think he did. Anyways, point is he's very well liked in the Hurricanes organization. You can tell by their fan base's reaction to this goal, but. The Moose had a 5-minute power play after a boarding penalty. They were trying to come back in the game, so they pulled their goaltender to make it a 6-on-4 towards the end of the third period. And Kochetkov took the puck. It was, the Moose just didn't have a good dump in. Dominic Codinato at the blue line just kind of dumped it in. There was no pressure on Kochetkov, and he took it in. And it was kind of like the kid had Burden energy, to be honest with you, the way he fired the puck. Actually, I should say Oskari Salminen energy, because Salminen scored a goal, the Moose goaltender. He scored, although that was overseas, not here in North America. But he fired the puck, and the way Dan Fink has the call, it sounds like the puck's going a little wide, and all of a sudden Dan's like, no, it's going into the net. And then, of course, he scores. And as good as the goal was, his celebration was even better. I mean, he went out to the blue line. He's like banging on the glass. He's into it. And then afterwards, I cut it off on that video, but then I put the whole video up. He actually went along and he did the flyby with his bench. And if that wasn't enough, then at the end of the game, he got into a fight with Jimmy Olney and he got ejected with 35 seconds to go in the game. So the only thing he was missing was the Gordie Howe hat trick, but it was a lot of fun and people are having a good time. So if you want to see that, I see Dave on Twitter, or we've got it on the Illegal Curve Instagram.
That's 2 goalie goals this year in the AHL, right?
I think at least, yeah.
What was the last one? There was one recently.
There was recently. I don't remember who got it, but I mean, this is the first one in Winnipeg that I think who was it who got credit? Was it Fred Brathwaite for the Moose 1.0 who had a goal?
Not just bring back. He was one of my all-time favorites, Freddie Brathwaite.
But I think he
also in the Welcome to Atlanta rap video. You remember that one?
I do not.
The Welcome to Atlanta remix, because Welcome to Atlanta, right, was Ludacris, Little John, and then for the remix they went to California, so Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound.
As we didn't talk about Wu-Tang coming to Winnipeg.
Yeah, I'll be going.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ezzy, do you want to go with Laura? Because she wants to go.
She wants to go to Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You know how to.
Hold on, am I going on a date with Laura?
Sure.
You don't have to call it a date.
I mean, she's been creepy. I mean, it doesn't have to be a date. You're friends with her.
We're swinging, Drew.
Well, now we're not.
The invitation
has now been rescinded.
I'm going to.
I was going to say Drew's going to take that off the table. Yeah, absolutely. I've been talking to a few people. Our good buddy Sean Moglove is a big rap fan. Might go with him. So I've got wrestling coming up with us too. AEW. There's a lot of things going on.
So just quickly, Evan Cormier was signed by the Jets recently. I think it was 2 days ago, and then put on waivers. It's funny.
No relation to Patrice, by the way.
No relation to Patrice, as you are correct, but he is
Eric.
What's that? Well, it's funny because the common comment, the best comment was, people were like, did Chevy have like an Eric Comrie contract just hanging around in his cupboard? And he's like, here, I'll just change a few of the letters and I'll just give it to this guy. But some folks were asking, I think it was our friend Rob was asking why this happened, and it's simply just organizational depth. It's something the Moose have done a couple of times. They did it with Philip Desrosiers and Cole Keller the last couple of years. And it's just simply an organizational move to add some depth if they need like a third goaltender, if they need to recall one of the Moose goalies. So this way they can call him up and he can be like a practice goaltender if they need him. but he's basically he's back with the Kalamazoo Wings, I think, and so he's back in the ECHL, but he's just gives them a little more of a depth position because, of course, they've got some after Arvid Holm and Oskari Salminen, there's no other goaltending depth in the pipeline right now that's signed to an NHL contract.
Okay, well, there we have it. Let's get going to some contests and wrap this baby up for this Friday night before it becomes Saturday morning. The Illegal Curve merchandise contest, you know how to enter it. You click the drop-down arrow on the YouTube channel. You click the link for the contest page. You go there. You see a whole bunch of things you need to do, or you can do, to earn extra entries into the contest. And after every Winnipeg Jets game, we draw a name. And if your name is drawn, you win some authentic Winnipeg Jets gear. Tonight's contest winner, or should we start with the unique code? Dave, it's up to you first. What do you want? Unique code or the contest winner?
I'm indifferent.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, my hand's not anywhere near where I could press it, so
I don't need you to press it. I just wanted you to give me an
unique code. Unique code.
Okay, the unique code for tonight's Illegal Curve merchandise contest.
Like it.
Enter this. It is Oil Country. No, we're not talking about Virden, Manitoba. We're talking Edmonton Oilers. Oil Country. All one word, all capitalized. That is your unique code word. Enter that code word on the contest page. You will win. You will get, I believe, is it 10 entries, 20 entries, 30 entries, 10 entries, Dave is telling me, to the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. And you do all the other things, and you get bonus entries.
Lots of opportunities to retweet some of our good quality tweets.
Retweet tweets that are of good quality means you win extra entries. So do that after you enter the word Oil Country for the unique code word.
Retweet that Kochetkov goalie goal. Dave's up
to
3 million hits right now.
Hold on. Uno momento, por favor.
Oh boy.
Well, hold on 1 second.
When did you learn how to speak Spanish?
I'm multilingual here, Ezzy. But Tishu is saying that they want a toque but never received it. Well, Tishu, I just want to, before we move on to past this, you have to send Ezzy an email. Ezra@illegalcurve.com.
Oh, this is for the Tough Duck. Yeah,
send me an email,
Ezra@illegalcurve.com. I apologize, Tishu.
No, it's not necessarily an apology for you.
I know it's running a little bit. I could use a tissue.
Well, and the show's over. Ezzy, you got to leave. End on a high note. That's it. You're done. Can't say anything else.
We just boot him. We just boot him right from the...
Mute him. He's done. Done. But anyways, so Tishu, just so you know, it's possible that you won. And if you didn't send Ezzy an email, I'm not saying you did or didn't. I'm not trying to blame you. I'm just saying send Ezzy an email.
Send me another email, because sometimes it goes to my junk. So I regularly check my junk email. So I apologize if I missed it. But yeah, just send me another email.
Or send it, or DM Ezzy. ICSEG, send him a DM with your address. He'll get it Tough Duck.
We ship out as far as Colorado. Jason Smith won. I think that was.
I know, Spency. I'm not trying to.
We ship out to Colorado. We ship out to the US.
I'm not trying to blame the victim. Spency saying I'm victim blaming. Listen, I could have ignored it. I addressed it right now. I want him to get him or her to get their merch. So we'll make sure of it. That's why I brought it up.
No need to grab a tissue. We're going to get it out to you.
The winner of the merchandise contest for tonight is Stuart Smith. So congratulations to Stuart. He is winning some great Jets gear, which he can wear proudly. I don't know that there's or Steve Smith. I'm not sure.
By the way, hold on. I don't know if everybody's trying to pull our leg, but now 4 other people have now all said, I have not received my toque. Guys,
no.
Ezzy, I'm sure Ezzy keeps a very comprehensive. I keep a list. I suspect my boy Ezra.
My Excel spreadsheet is up here.
Oh boy! Right up here, everybody gets a toque. Everybody email Ezzy. You all get toques.
It's true. Just email Ezzy. He'll send you something. It might be his kids' toques. It might be it might
or
be
just send me an email. Send me like a mass, like those email chains. Let's bring those email chains back. Those were fun.
Okay. Well, thank you for that contribution. Remember
when we all had our Hotmail accounts and you would just get like
whoa. Now hold on. Maul's going way back. Maul's going way back in the ICOT pool and IC game-winning goal contest.
Yeah, folks, haven't you realized this entire thing is just a Ponzi scheme?
Well, more importantly, Maul, those toques are. Who was it? Wait, who said they were going to wear their toque? It was Garrett Hall said he was going to wear his Illegal Curve toque, but he had one of the old school ones made by our friends at CompuServe. Though we have, of course, that's right. Going back a few years
with the female, right? The female logo. I can't say it. I can't say it. Our first logo was a.
Where Drew likes to go teasers. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
and for the record,
loves that entertainment.
First of all, we're a sex positive show on this show. I
don't even know what that means.
It means that if somebody wants to be an exotic dancer, we support their career choices, and we
we support it with $20 bills. Of course we do.
How do you think I put myself through university, Drew?
Oh, dear sweet Jesus.
Anywho, this show's off the rails. But all I was going to say, Maul, is that you can actually. Who the best is?
Well, there's no way he made that up. That's the thing. There's no way he would pick out, by the way, a fellow Dane, Mikkel Bodker, highest drafted Danish player ever.
Sorry, a fellow Dane? You're not Danish.
No, like Ehlers.
Yeah, but you did say
but
fellow.
You're not Nikolai Ehlers.
I meant to say Ehlers, a fellow Dane. But there's no way he would pick that obscure of a player back in 2012. So I think you need to get Molatuk.
Well, no, hold on. Now, for the record, again, unlike Ezzy, Dave M keeps all the records, folks. I got all the receipts. I still have my lists from folks who have won the IC game-winning goal and IC. Let me tell you, that was a lot of work getting all that stuff out. But if you didn't get it,
in some cases, Dave, we just didn't give it out, so it couldn't have been that much work.
Yeah. You won it back in 2012. You'll get your toque in 2032.
Well, hey, whatever. Hey, I'm struggling right now just to get all this new merch out. I can't start worrying about a contest from 11 years ago.
Congratulations to Stuart Smith, the winner
Way to go,
of
Stuart.
His, merchandise contest.
I'll be in contact with you in 40 years.
Exactly. Don't hold your breath, Stuart. We may or may not be in contact with you.
Stuart, it's nice to see they showed Mark Stewart on the bench, Oilers bench. Nice to see him, former Jet.
Is he an Oilers assistant coach?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one. So I must have missed that.
I missed that.
You're parenting, Drew. It's okay.
Yeah, I think I must have been doing some parenting. That's rare. In any event, we have to be back in 9 hours and 2 minutes, so we're going to end it here for tonight. Or I guess we have the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I've got it queued up. I sent it to you, so we got to get that one out. You have it there. Yeah, Dan Miller.
Yeah, Dan, you're not getting your toque, so it doesn't matter.
No, Dan is definitely getting his toque. Agreed. Time to sit players that are not performing. I would have said 36, which of course is Morgan Barron the past few weeks now, but he played good tonight. Morgan Barron was obviously out there almost 4 minutes, killing penalties, had a good scoring chance early in the game. So I like that comment because I think we're at that point. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I've been kind of banging the Dave Manuk drum to get a guy like Jansen Harkins or Jeff Malott up here. They need something in the top six, and Nemestikov I don't think is going to be enough. So Dan, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, or slide into my DMs on Twitter @ICSEG, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you. And as I mentioned earlier, Jason Smith, who lives in North Glen, Colorado, he got a toque. So we ship out West, East, US, Canada. We're not going to be able to send John Chan one in Singapore, but we do ship to the US as well. So if Dan happens to be in the US, it'll be Miller time for him.
Well, if John Chan wins a contest, he can get ours, but just saying.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
send to a local address.
We wish you nothing but luck.
Yeah, everybody. John, next time you're in Winnipeg, we'll have it at a PO box waiting for you.
We'll have it with Darwin's 2012 Mikkel Bodker toque.
There you go. A big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, the website a possibility, our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. And of course, as I was broadcasting from there earlier today, so a big thank you to them. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Rumors. They were named one of the top 5 comedy clubs in North America.
Yeah, that was awesome. Right. I would like to see that. That was great.
Earlier, came out, I believe, earlier this week, maybe yesterday, that was announced among some of the biggest names in the comedy world that you're used to, the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and all the big names, some of the big
it was real. Like, it was a real list. It wasn't like some fake, like, it wasn't like, okay, they're the top 5 in like the Western Canadian provinces. That was a real list. That was impressive.
A very real list. So congratulations to our friends at Rumors.
I think it's all ownership and management at that place.
No question. That's got to be what it is. Our friends at Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rollies, Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. The clock has struck midnight. It is now Saturday morning. We will see you in less than 9 hours.
Pie, and Drew's going to turn into a pumpkin.
Exactly. We will see you in less than 9 hours for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Scott Billick, Derek Van Diest, the 3 of us, the usual nonsense, and of course, whatever sort of is
Whole B.
whatever is sort of bothering us, we will be able to talk about it in depth on tomorrow morning's show. Until then, we say thanks to everyone for joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it. It'll be available very shortly. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow @Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.